All right. So you're back. You clicked on the link, or you just actually got to this video. Somehow you're here anyway, and we're good. And we're talking SAT math. And for this video, like we mentioned, if you did watch the last video, we are getting into an idea that we call versatility. It's such a key part of how to take an exam like the SAT, especially now that we kind of got our minds right from the last video and we realize how the clock doesn't matter, how you're not thinking of it like you have a minute and change for every question. So with that mentality now in place, we got to get into some actual meat here and talk about how to do some of these questions. And as I briefly did mention in the last video, if you watched it, it's so important to recognize that you are not taking a straight math exam like you are in school, that if you use conventional math techniques for the entire test, you're putting yourself under a burden that, quite frankly, you don't need to be put under. And there are classic test taking techniques that we just need to reinforce at this early stage in your preparation to ensure that you're going to be a rock star come test day. So to do that, I am going to bring my beloved girl Kiki into the mix here. If you don't already have this book, guys, we'll give the College Board a little bit of a plug because, quite frankly, one of the really nice things they do is give this book as an option for us to work from. Guys, this is the official College Board study guide. You can get it basically anywhere. Retail price, according to the back of this thing, is $21.99 since we're not in Canada. And that is what we're going to reference from, guys, for any of the videos because, quite frankly, it doesn't make sense to practice off of something that isn't the real thing. So this is what we're going to be getting into. And like I just mentioned, versatility is the buzzword of the day. The basic idea of versatility is using different techniques to get math questions done. And the first technique we're going to get into is a simple thing that we could call substituting numbers. Okay, so let's dive into our first question. And if you have not already pulled up your awesome College Board book, then you want to do that now. The page that you are going to is page 642. And the first question we're going to tackle is question number 16, which I'm just going to go ahead and read right from the beginning. If x and y are positive consecutive odd integers where y is greater than x, which of the following is equal to y squared minus x squared? Super classic SAT question where you are being given a general situation, and very simply the technique we're going to now first employ here is one that we could call substituting numbers, because what we are going to do is actually just throw some consecutive odd integers in for y and x. And the cool thing is it really doesn't matter what you end up choosing. So if you wanted to make them 1 and 3, 3 and 5, 5 and 7, these are all consecutive odd integers, and actually to lay some foundation for some better habits that you're going to want to develop down the road, we are not going to use 1 and 3 because 1 is a really special number in math that does some funky stuff. This is something we'll talk a little more bit about down the road, so we're going to use some other numbers. All right, so the numbers that I'm going to choose here are going to be simple. Let's go ahead and make our y 5. And our x3. And the question again was, what is y squared minus x squared? So I'm going to go ahead and plug the numbers that we just chose into that exact statement here. So our y is 5, so we're going to do 5 squared, minus our x of 3 squared. Running through these numbers, to be careful again not to make a silly miscalculation here. 25 minus 9, that gives us 16, and this is something I'm going to box out to remind me what I've actually gotten numerically, because that is precisely what one of the 5 choices now needs to equal. And I'm going to go right up to A and just go ahead and plug in what I need to plug in, because our x is still 3, which is why, as you can see, A is not going to be our match. Plugging in B, our x again is still 3. Now multiplying that by 4, that is still not going to give us our numerical match. And without any hesitation, I'm just going to continue plugging through the other choices. 2 times x of 3 plus 2, still not what I'm looking for here. And I'm diligently just being careful to work out every option. Going to D, home stretch. 2 times 3 plus 4, still not going to be my guy, and quite simply, who cares that I'm going to go through all 5 if I have to in this case, and it is absolutely going to end up being, as you can see here with our final guy, 4 times 3 plus 4, which is going to work out to be our 12 plus 4 to give me 16. And this is exactly how I know for sure, without any doubt, that E has got to be the correct answer. Something I mentioned before as I bubble in my answer, but that's awful, so let me not just box it out. This is where the numbers you pick actually don't make any difference as long as they fit the constraints of the question. So the question did say that x and y have to be positive consecutive odd integers, so you can't just pick any random number. But as long as they were both consecutive odd integers, any numbers were going to justify the fact that E was going to be a numeric match to what we were looking for. Okay, so let's get into a second question here and a second technique. We are now jumping to page 849 of the Big Blue Book. And as you can see from the screen, the question we are going to be addressing is question 7, a really classic type of SAT question. I'm just going to read it from the beginning here, guys. A certain scale only registers weights that are greater than 6 pounds. A person who wanted to know the weights of a puppy, a kitten, and a bunny weighed them in pairs and got the following results. The kitten and the bunny weighed 7 pounds, the kitten and the puppy weighed 8 pounds, the bunny and the puppy weighed 9 pounds, and you are wondering who the hell cares who these animals are and why they weigh what they weigh. But in any case, the final question, as you can see, guys, says, what is the weight of the puppy? And what we're going to do here is a really classic test-taking technique that, quite frankly, anyone who's teaching you anything about standardized testing really always has to address. And we could call this guess and check. We can call it plug and chug, test the answers, quite simply whatever you want to call it, who cares? But the bottom line is this. One of these 5 answers has to represent the weight of the puppy, and we really can now just start to try them one by one. So typically when you're doing something like this, the conventional wisdom is to start with choice C, because multiple choice questions are going to be in numeric order. So the question again is, what is the weight of the puppy? And the first thing we're going to try is, what if the puppy was 4? Because if the puppy was 4, according to that second statement, the kitten and the puppy have to weigh 8 together. So that is what's going to tell us that the kitten is going to have to be 4 pounds as well. According to that third statement, the bunny and the puppy have to weigh 9 pounds. So again, if our puppy is 4, now we know our bunny is going to have to be 5. And together then, the kitten and the bunny are going to have to be 9. But according to the first statement of the question, they were only supposed to be 7. And this is precisely how we now know that C is not the answer. And we can keep trying the others and go right to what is going to work out here, guys. I'm going to go right to D, where the puppy is going to be 5 pounds. Coming back to that second statement, again, kitten and puppy have to weigh 8, so kitten's going to have to be 3 now. That third statement again is that bunny and puppy weigh 9, so puppy 5, now bunny's 4. And the bunny and kitten together are now 7, and that matches that first statement, which is why this is definitely our correct answer. And we are done. Now, as a side note, guys, I should mention there are definitely times where starting with choice C again, because it's in the middle, clearly tells you what direction you are going to have to go in. As you can see, I'm getting kind of excited that we got our answer here. And who doesn't love the SAT? Let's just put that out there. In any case, guys, this is where if trying C doesn't actually reveal to you what the correct direction would be to go in, assuming C didn't work, then it's really not that big a deal, because we know from the last video, guys, that we're not thinking about the clock, we're not thinking about time, and if I got to try all 5 of these choices, again, what's the big deal? I'm going to arrive at the correct answer, and I should finish this question by acknowledging there is certainly a much more traditional way to tackle this kind of question. However, the bottom line is, whatever ends up leading us to a legitimate correct answer is going to work out very nicely on test day, and we need to be versatile enough to tackle the occasional question by using a technique that, again, whatever you want to call this thing, guess and check, test the answers, using a technique that we know is really legit. So that wasn't so bad, right? Maybe even a little kind of fun. Kittens, puppies, bunnies. What we really now just hopefully established, guys, is that there are ways to get these questions done that can make you a little less crazy. And on the day of an exam, I'm on section 7. I've been taking this test for almost 4 hours. Great students can be practical about how they deal with questions, and great students understand the need to be versatile. And we start to, again, build this more complete mindset, one that we started the last time, where we were really capturing this thought of, I don't have to get questions done that I don't know how to do, and that starts to make the time limit not matter, and I can score amazing scores like 650 and leave out at least 3 or 4 questions actually in a given section. I bring that mentality, I couple it with the ability to just use random numbers, to just try out the answer choices that they're giving me, and we do have to obviously couple that, guys, with some straight up facts, which leads me into talking about video 3, which you are seeing a link for here that you're going to be able to click and help us now, help you, give you that balance that you need between having some straight up factual knowledge, because like there's kind of no other way to say that for some of these questions where you don't have a second way to do them. You just do need to know some of the rules of geometry, some of the ways to solve a given equation. That's a key part of the process, but it's an incomplete thing to say that without having already introduced the fact that there are plenty of awesome questions like the couple that we did today where you don't have to use straight conventional math, and you can be that extra level of skillful by having that extra degree of versatility that we want every one of our students to have. So stay tuned for the next video, and we'll see you then.